All right, this is part three. We go on to January 6th, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker. All right, so received cash for repair services for $300. So I'm going to go to cash. It is January 5th. Not there. January 5th, received cash, revenue. I can't go that quick, huh? Received revenue, and then cash would be 101. Revenue would be 302. And I believe you received $300 cash, $300 revenue. And then we would go here, we go all the way to cash. January 5th, received revenue. And then it would be $300 revenue, which would be under the debit side, which would be equal out to the balance plus your revenue. So you have now 11,150. Then you add another account, and the other account is going to be called revenue. And then account number, it is 302, and it is January 5th. I'm received revenue, and then it would credit $300. Your balance would be crediting $300. We are done with that. It is actually January 6th, so make sure you change all of these to January 6th instead. January 6th, ledger. See, when you're trying to do stuff a little bit quicker so you can fit everything within a certain time, it doesn't work that way. All right, January 6th. All right, the next question is received cash for repair services for $1,000. So obviously it's the same exact accounts being affected. So January, I always forget the date, 8th. January 8th. Received cash, revenue, received revenue. It would be 101, 302. I believe it was for $1,000. It was for $1,000. So cash would be oops, not there. Okay. It would be $1,000 under the credit, under the debit, $1,000 under the credit. We go over here, and then we do cash, which is January 8th for $1,000. Now the new balance is this plus this. New last 12,150, and then we go to revenue, and we do January 8th, received revenue, and then it'd be $1,000. Your new balance is this $1,000 plus the $300 before, $1,300. Then we go back to instructions because we are done with this transaction. We go on to the next transaction, which is January 10th. Sherlock paid on equipment purchase on the 4th, $800. So that would be January 10th. Cash is getting affected. Accounts payable is getting affected. Cash is 101. Accounts payable is 201. Paying out a loan. And he is paying $800 cash. And it'd be $800 under accounts payable. You go to the ledger. You go up to cash. And you do January 10th. Right? Am I right? January 10th? Yes. Okay. January 10th, and then paid bill for $800 cash. So now that would be equal to 12,150 minus $800. It is 1150. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of lines here because I do believe that we're going to add a lot more stuff under cash. All right, and then accounts payable, which is all the way down here. Okay, January 10th, paid loan, and they paid $800 worth of loan, so I debit $800. My new balance is still credit $2,800 minus the debit over here, $2,000. I go back. Now we are done with this transaction. The next one is paid utilities bill for $55. and that was on the 11th. Okay, so January 11th. I don't know why it's going there. All right, January 11th, and make sure you leave a line in between. January 11, utilities expense and cash and paid utilities, and utilities cash is 101, utilities expense is 306, and it is for $55. 306, and it's for $55. Excellent. And then we go to the ledger, and then we go to cash. It's going back and forth all the time, but you can get confused really quickly here. January 11th, paid utilities. You don't actually have to do the item right here if you don't want to. You could just do the credit debits. I just do it just to make it a little bit easier. All right, $55. So now the new balance under cash is $55. And then we add another account under owner's equity over here, which is utilities expense. And it is 306. 306. January 11th, paid utilities, debit 55, debit 55. All right, excellent. So we go on to the next transaction. It is paid internet telephone expense for $200. It is January 12th, and it is cash, and it is telephone internet expense. Paid bill, and this would be cash is 101. It is for $200, would be credit cash. Telephone expense, it is 304, and it's for $200. And then we go here, we go up to cash, and we do January 12th. I believe it was January 12th, but let me make sure because sometimes, yep, it is January 12th. Good. Okay. Paid telephone internet for $200. So the new balance is this minus this, $11.95, and then we add another account here, which is telephone internet expense. Which is 304. I believe it was 304. 304, yes. And it was on January 12th. Yeah. Okay. January 12th, paid bill. It was $200 here. And then it was $200 under debit. And then we go on to the next transaction. As we are done with this, we have a lot more transactions. Let me see how far we've gone. All right, so we can do a couple more here in this video. The next transaction is the 13th, January 13th. So it is January 13th. I don't know why it's always there. January 13th. What happens on January 13th is received cash for repair services, $2,500. So revenue is getting affected, cash is getting affected, and account receivables is getting affected. So cash, revenue, account receivables, received revenue. We know cash is 101, revenue is 302, account receivables is 103, and he's receiving $2,500, so we credit $2,500 under revenue. How much of it is he's receiving cash? 2,000 cash, and the rest on account receivables. Okay, then we go over here, and then we go all the way up to cash. and we do January 13th received revenue, and he has received $2,000 in cash. So the new balance is this balance plus the $2,000, $1,395. And then account receivables, let's add another account receivables. Let's add another account. Another account would be account receivables, and that would be 103, and that would be for January 13th received revenue, and it is for $500. And then we have revenue for $2,500, which I believe it's all the way up here if I'm not mistaken. Nope, that's capital, drawing, rent expense, revenue. January 13th revenue for $2,500. So the balance is 1,300 plus the 2,500. Oops. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Okay. The 2,500, which equals out to be 3,800, and that would be it for this. So we are done with this transaction as well. Let's see how many minutes we're at. We are at 11 minutes. Let's stop this and let's